What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another review. And this time, we're going to be taking a look at Raging Bull, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro. Raging Bull tells the story of famed boxer Jake LaMotta, played by De Niro himself. Okay, I'm going to try and make this review as short as I possibly can, give you my thoughts on this, and go from there. Okay, so Raging Bull, like I said, based on the true story of the famed boxer Jake LaMotta. A little bit of trivia for you. Robert De Niro was actually trained to box for this particular movie by LaMotta himself, and De Niro was so good at it that he actually did a couple of real fights, and he actually had a good record for himself. And LaMotta went on record to say that De Niro was one of the top 20 best middleweights he's ever seen. So goes to show that if De Niro would have stayed with boxing, he could have been a world-class champion. We'll never know. But that just goes to show just how committed of an actor De Niro really is, and just how much he immerses himself into a role. He did two things for this movie. He trained how to box with LaMotta, and then production shut down for 4 months so that De Niro can travel all over Europe to gain weight to play the older Jake LaMotta in later scenes in the film. So that's overall, that's just commitment to a movie, commitment to a character, and De Niro wanting to get the best he could out of the experience. So again, when De Niro, when he was on fire, the man was on fire. And in Raging Bull, he is no different. I love his performance as Jake LaMotta, and I like the contrast this movie has. We see Jake LaMotta, this world-class athlete, in the ring, in the professional life. He is respected and loved. In his personal life, he's an asshole. He's abusive. He's a dick. He barely trusts the people he's with. He argues with his brother to the point where he accuses his brother on betraying him by messing around with his wife. When we first see Jamal in his personal life, he's yelling at his first wife. He gets into an argument with his brother. Then he meets another woman who is 16 years old. It goes to show you that it was a different time in the 1940s where it was acceptable for a grown man to be messing around with a 16-year-old. Nowadays, it's a different story. It's a thing called rape. But we see the courtship, and the girl is played by Kathy Moriarty, with all aside, puts on a decent performance, and I like her and De Niro together. This is one of Kathy Moriarty's earlier roles. She's good. She's not fantastic. She was fine for what she was. Of course, in her later years, she got much better as an actress. But De Niro, as an actor, really helped her shine through in a lot of their scenes together, because you got to buy their courtship and their romance as the movie progresses, because when we see LaMotta further deteriorate, not, I don't want to say deteriorate, but get more and more abusive and obsessive in his personal life, we have to feel for Kathy Moriarty's character, and she does a good job. For an unseasoned actress, she doesn't do half bad. She's not great, but she's pretty good for what it was. Again, De Niro is really the anchor of this movie. Like I said, when we see him as Jake LaMotta, the boxer, he's awesome. De Niro handles his boxing scenes awesomely. I mean, Scorsese shoots the boxing scenes with with realism, and since De Niro did heavy training for it, he comes across as a legitimate boxer, and a lot of those boxing scenes, they look real, they look legit, and they're well choreographed. I really like him a lot. And like I said, when he's not in the ring and in his personal life, De Niro plays LaMotta as that brutish asshole, and he does it to perfection. With all the relationships he has, and that all crumble around him. Like I said, the deterioration of his marriages, the blatant distrust of his own brother, who he accuses of messing around with his wife. And speaking of the brother, this is one of Joe Pesci's earlier movies, and this is actually the first movie between Pesci and Scorsese, if I'm not mistaken. And this was the beginning of Joe Pesci as that, the little man with the temper. This is pretty much Joe Pesci, and this is the first movie to have Joe Pesci as the character we all know and love him as. The little man with a short fuse who will beat the shit out of you. It happened here in Raging Bull, when he's talking to a gangster played by Frank Vincent, and Pesci's accusing this guy of messing around with his brother's wife, and Pesci just lunges at him and beats the holy hell out of him, doing his famous fighting, his famous cursing, fantastic stuff. But when the movie gets serious, De Niro and Pesci have a really good on-screen chemistry, with one another in one of their earlier, films working together. They were perfect together. I love them both in this movie. I thought they were great. They worked so good off one another. I love the whole period piece. I like how this movie takes place in two time periods. It takes place in the 40s when LaMotta was in his prime, and it takes place in the 60s where we see an older, retired, out of shape LaMotta who pretty much is. This movie is told in a flashback, with the older, LaMotta reflecting on the past 20, nearly 20 something years of his life. And when we see him as older LaMotta, he's much more humbled in a way. He regrets the things that he did, and he's looking for some sort of redemption in his life. And I like how this movie is pretty much a character study on this man who had it all, then he lost it all. Now he wants to redeem himself and try and get what really matters back. And I thought that Scorsese and the writers handled that perfectly. And De Niro's performance is fantastic all throughout. On the production side, this movie is, like I said, is well shot. The cinematography is fantastic. I love the black and white aesthetic. It gives it a very timeless yet classic feel. Scorsese put so much effort into this movie to really make it look authentic and make it look beautiful, and he did a fantastic job. The cinematography is fantastic. The sets, the costumes, they all are beautiful. They all fit the period. I have nothing bad to say about all that. It's all really well handled. Of course, I do got some issues with this movie. Like I said, Kathy Moriarty, though I think she's fine, she's not fantastic. There are scenes in this movie, to me, that they kind of drag on for a little bit. I would like to see a little bit more tightened up. A lot of people consider this to be Martin Scorsese's, masterpiece. Like, this is the film that put Scorsese on the map. And for those people, I can see where they're coming from, and I understand it. But just because it's that doesn't mean I feel the same way. Yes, I realize the importance of Raging Bull, but Raging Bull is not my favorite Scorsese movie. It's a great movie. It's a really good movie, but it's not my favorite. And I've only seen it twice. It goes to show you just how. And again, it doesn't make it a bad movie. It's a really, like I said, it's a really great movie. It's a good sports drama. It's a good character study on a man who had it all, loses it all, and tries to get some of it back. And you have fantastic performances all throughout. But at the end of the day, to me, I have little nitpicks here and there, but that doesn't ruin the quality of the movie for me whatsoever. So, yeah, I'm going to give Raging Bull solid 9 out of 10. This is a really good movie. Beautifully written, beautifully riddled, beautifully written, expertly handled, top-notch acting. And if you haven't seen it, give it a watch. It's damn well worth it, especially if you like sports dramas and character studies. This is one of the gooder ones. This is one of the better ones, I should say. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Raging Bull. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I would like to know. Like this video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.